All right. In this new unit, the second part of our new unit, our big idea is understanding operations to help us solve problems in the real world. Today, we're going to work on demonstrating an understanding of estimating for products and quotients. Products, of course, mean multiplying, and quotients mean dividing. There is no calculator for this unit. However, you may use a multiplication table if you need one. Turn now to the Connect section of Unit 3 of Lesson 2. Pause while you do this. All right, so let's review quickly the strategies that we have for estimating. We have front end, compensation, benchmarks, and compatible numbers. Some work better than others with multiplication with decimals. We are moving on with decimals now. All right, here we have a problem. A ping pong ball has a mass of 2.73 or 2 73 of a gram, and we want to estimate the mass of 8 of those ping pong balls, which means we're going to have to multiply 2.73 times 5. In this case, we've decided to use front-end estimation. Remember, we use the place value of the front digits in front-end estimation. So 2.73 just becomes 2, and 8 stays 8. So 2 times 8 is 16. With decimal estimation, you should end up with whole numbers, not decimal numbers. Okay, so you're making them into a whole number to work with. The second strategy is decimal benchmarks. Benchmarks, remember, is what is it closer to? So rounding to the tens place, rounding to the hundreds place. In this case, you're going to want to round to the ones place. So you would be looking at the 7 next door. It would tell you that 2.73 is closer to 3 than it is to 2, and you can see it on the number line here. And in this case, then it would be 3 times 8, which would give you an estimate of 24. Both are accurate estimates. This estimate, decimal benchmarks, will get you a more accurate, closer to the actual estimate. We can also use estimating to divide. So, for example, here we have 4 baseballs, total mass of 575 and 94 of a gram. And we want to find out how much it is for 1. So we're taking a total and we're dividing it into 4 individual groups to find out how much it is for 1. Here we're going to use front-end estimation. And he wrote 575.94 as just 500 divided by 4. Again, I would go up to the hundreds place because it's hard to do 575 divided by 4 in your head. An estimation should be something that you can do in your head, not one where you need to have paper. So making sure that you're changing your number into one that you can easily do in your head. And here 500 divided by 4, well, 400 divided by 4, 100 each. Left with 100 divided by 4 is 25 each, so 125 would be your estimate. And this again is a front-end estimate. Front-end estimates work quite well for division. The other one that works really well for division is compatible numbers. That's a very common one. Here, looking again at this same question, remember compatible numbers are numbers that are easy to multiply. And that works well with division because a lot of numbers don't go into. So, for example, 55 cannot easily be divided by 4, but 50 can easily be divided by 4. So it's better to look for numbers that will be something that can actually be easily divided by something. Otherwise, you're working with remainders and such, and then you cannot do it in your head. So, for example, here, 575 is close to 600. He's taken 600 to divide by 4. Again, 400 divided by 4 is 100, plus 200 divided by 4, well, that would be 50 each, so plus the 50 is 150. And that, in this case, would be an overestimate. Remember, it's an overestimate if your numbers are bigger than the actual. It's an underestimate if your numbers are lower than the actual. Okay, so in this case, it would be an underestimate because it's lower. This case would be an overestimate because it's greater. All right, so to review, a compatible number is a number that is easy to work with. So again, for example, if we had 785 divided by 4, 700 divided by 4, not easy to work with. However, 800 divided by 4, very easy to work with. 8 can easily be divided by 4, and then of course we can use the annexing 0 strategy from last year to add the 2 zeros, 200. This again would be an overestimate because this number was higher. All right, and here is your opportunity to practice. If you could pause now and try a few of these. Remember, you want to go to the whole number and you want it to be something that you can do in your head. But please do show on your work what it is that you estimated to so that we can help you figure out if you've made any errors. Good luck. Come back and check. All right, so let's check. So for example, A, 4 times 0.59, and they've got a dollar sign there, so it's money. I would round that up to 1. 4 times 1 equaling $4. B, 6 times 2.3, and again, with multiplication, it's not as difficult to choose a strategy. Front end, benchmarks, even compatible numbers, and compensation can be used. Generally, compensation not so much because you don't change both numbers, you only change one. So I'm going to use benchmarks. 6 times 2.3 is closest to 2, so 6 times 2 is 12. C, 3 times 2.175, or 3 times 2 and 175 thousandths, if we were saying it mathematically. In this case, I'm going to use front end. 3 times 2 is 6. D, last one for multiplication. 6 times, can't get it to erase. 7 times 11.8. I'm going to use benchmark. 7 times 12 because 11.8 is closer to 12, or 11 and 8/10 is closer to 12. And I would do 7 times 12. 7 times 10 is 70. 7 times 2 is 14, equaling 84. Okay, and you should be able to do this part in your head. Turn to the next page where the rest of them will be done. All right, now let's try some for division. Estimating is also often used to place your decimal point, okay? So for example, here we already have the answer, 21.8 divided by 5 equals 436, but we're not sure, is it 4.36 or 43.6? And here we can use compatible numbers. 5 divided by something close to 21 that's actually evenly going to divide. Well, I'm going to go 20 divided by 5, which equals 4. So then I know my decimal has to be here because 4 is closer to 4.36 than it is to 43.6. Let's try the same thing with C. We have 13.23 divided by 9 equaling 147. We don't know where that decimal needs to be placed. What's something that can evenly be divided? Well, this one's really quite tricky because there isn't a lot. But I know that closest to 13 would actually have to be 9 divided by 9 because you can't go 12 divided by 9 or 10 divided by 9 or 11 divided by 9. The next one that you could do is 9 times 2. So 18 divided by 9 giving you 2. So I would go with 9. It's closer. Equals 1, which means you're going to have your decimal here. 1 decimal 47, or 1 and 47 hundredths. Finishing the last one. Alright, and now let's just try these two for division. A, we have, oops, that looks like a 9, sorry. A, we have 1.8 divided by 2, and 1.8, well, what can that be close to? That can actually be divided by 2. Well, really, 1 can't be divided by 2, but 2 can be divided by 2, which should equal 1. So my estimate is 1. And for the second C, 0.056 divided by 7. And again, this is where it gets tricky. Really, the closest it can get to. Now, this is where it actually gets quite tricky, because here you would actually take the 56 and divide it by 7, which would be 8. And you would have to put in your decimals in front, so 0.0, but it's not, it has to have one more 0 because it's 56, and that would mean the 8 is in this spot, which makes it 8 tenths as opposed to 8 hundredths, and 8 tenths can't be, when you're dividing 56 hundredths, 8 tenths can't, 8 hundredths, 56 thousandths, sorry, 8 thousandths can't be your answer because 56 into 8. So that one is tricky. I don't think we'll have a whole lot of those. All right, now you are off to your concept practice, page 94, numbers 1, 2, 3, 6, and 7. Remember, if you are not sure, that you need to ask. As well, you can go back and look at your Connect section as well. Good luck.